Hello and welcome to the first Hawk Central Huddle of 2016. I'm your host, Chris Cuellar. With me is Chad Leistikow. We are breaking down Hawkeye football and basketball. Chad, you were in Pasadena. Maybe you thought you'd get a break after the Rose Bowl, but it's been nonstop Hawkeyes this last week.
Yeah, right. Just today, linebackers coach Jim Reed takes the defensive coordinator position at Boston College. A big loss for the Hawkeye coaching staff. Jim Reed was well-liked, respected veteran leader on that coaching staff, and stability has been a key part of the Ferentz success model over the years. So any kind of coaching change brings a little bit of, I don't want to say a concern, but certainly he's going to be tough to replace.
It's an interesting trade-off, though, because the big name decided to return to the Hawkeyes, Desmond King, just a couple days ago.
I think most fans are probably going to be more excited about Desmond King coming back than anything this week. Obviously, when you get a Jim Thorpe Award winner, it goes without saying that's a big deal,
Sure.
Your biggest recruit. But the thing that King does that I think a lot of people forget is he's such a weapon in the return game, and that was something that Iowa really used to its advantage this year. In several games, the Iowa State game, the Pitt game, he did have a big return in the Rose Bowl. Didn't really mean anything, but he was certainly a guy that gave them some explosive plays and special teams.
In the aftermath of a tough week, though, that's some positive news that I think a lot of fans can hold on to. And you wrote a story on potential returning starters for 2016. Obviously, you can pencil Desmond King right in there now.
Yeah, I had an or on the on the cornerback spot, but he'll be there.
Sure.
They get at least 7 defensive starters back. That's a great start. If Drew Ott comes back, we get that medical red shirt. We should find out in the next month or so. Could be any day. Could be 3 or 4 weeks. Could be 5 weeks. But certainly Iowa's going to be favored to win the Big Ten West. I think that there's a lot of positions, though, that are going to be concerns going forward, especially at defensive end, if Drew Ott does not come back.
Well, that's all our football fallout, but you can't really overshadow the men's basketball team right now. A 3-0 start to the Big Ten schedule, a couple of gigantic wins the last week. What's this been like watching hold on against Michigan State and then come back against Purdue?
Yeah, well, I was actually in a sports bar in downtown Los Angeles watching Iowa beat Michigan State.
So you had a better seat than I did. That's
with a bunch of Hawkeye fans just to kind of soak in that atmosphere. And I think people were pretty excited to beat a #1 team that had been, but they were still focused on the Rose Bowl. But I think Iowa winning at Purdue the day after the Rose Bowl, I think that really lifted up the fan base quite a bit. I noticed that a lot in my interactions with people, that coming back from a 19-point deficit on the road against one of the Big Ten favorites really showed not only character about this team, but also that it maybe learned a lot from that Iowa State loss where they blew a 20-point lead. So they closed this one out 3-0 in the Big Ten for the first time since 2002, 2003. And Iowa's actually won 9 straight Big Ten regular season games for the first time since 1969-70. So you can see where we're at here. Kind of rarefied air, I guess, so to speak, for the Hawkeyes.
And based on the schedule, they kind of needed this start a little bit too, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Iowa gets 9 days off now before its next game. One of the longest breaks that Adam Woodbury said he couldn't think of having a longer break during the Big Ten season. But then it ramps up again. They go at Michigan State, where they haven't won since 1993. They host Michigan, which Karis LeVert probably will be back by then. Michigan State will probably have Denzel Valentine back by then. And then a couple weeks later, they get Purdue, and then again, and then at Maryland. So really a murderer's row to start this season.
Last thing, that those games might be made a little bit easier by the fact that Jared Utoff, the forward from Cedar Rapids Jefferson, is having what could be a Player of the Year type start to the season.
Yeah, at this moment, I think it's a 3-man race for Big Ten Player of the Year between Valentine at Michigan State, Melo Trimble of Maryland, and Jared Utoff of Iowa. Utoff wouldn't have been in that conversation before the season.
It seemed like maybe an all Big Ten player if he played well, but I don't think anybody expected this.
Yeah, I think what's most surprising is the block shots. He's got 50 block shots already this season. Leads the Big Ten at almost 3.5 a game. Also leads the Big Ten in scoring right now at 18.6 a game. So, I mean, a wingman leading the Big Ten in scoring and shot blocks for an unbeaten Big Ten team right now. I would probably put Utah at the top of that list. Obviously, he's got to continue it, though.
I don't think you're alone, even if we're a little biased from being in state here.
Yeah.
That should lift some spirits after the Rose Bowl aftermath. But for more Hawk Central Huddle, check back to hawkcentral.com and DesMoinesRegister.com, where you can find all of Chad's stuff over the next couple weeks of action. Thanks so much for joining us.